So, you've just bought yourself your first guitar, but you have no idea how you're going to start. If you're watching this video, then that's probably you. Luckily for you today, I'm going to show you some beginner stuff on guitar. In this video, I'm going to go over how to tune a guitar, I'm going to show you how to play some basic chords, and then I'm going to teach you how to play a song using the chords I teach you in this video. To begin, let's go over how to tune. Before I go over how to tune, I first want to tell you the names of each of the strings. From the thickest string up here to the thinnest string down here, this is the low E string, the A string, the D string, the G string, the B string, and then the high E string. So now that you know the different string names, I'm going to go over two different methods that you can use to tune. Now there are a lot of different tuning setups that you can use, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to do standard tuning, in which all the strings are tuned in accordance to their name. So the E strings are going to be tuned to E, the A strings are going to be tuned to A, and etc. One of the best methods for tuning, in my opinion, is buying and using a physical tuner like this one. Here is a Fender brand FT1 tuner. I got this on Amazon for about $15. You can get one like this, or you can get another one if you'd like. These kinds of tuners attach to the top part of your guitar, and they have a small compartment for a disc-type battery. So turning on the display here, you will see that there's a little letter here, and that's for the different tuning settings that this thing has. I'm going to leave it on C for the chromatic setting, and how that works is whenever you pluck a string, it'll display a note here on the screen that's closest in pitch to the tuning of that string. And so a note will pop up right here, and you'll notice that there's an arrow pointing at the center towards where the note will be, and that is indicating where the center pitch is. And you'll also notice that there's this little line right here. Now, whenever you pluck a note, if that line is to the left of the note display on the screen, it means you are flatter than the note you're trying to possibly tune to. And if it's to the right of that note, that means you are sharper. So when you're trying to tune, you're going to pluck the string and you're going to tune it either up or down, getting it close to the pitch that you want. And then you'll see that the line will either be to the left if it's flat or right if it's sharp. And then simply either tighten or loosen the tuning peg for that string until that line aligns with the center, and then the display on this will glow green. Now, physical tuners like this one tend to be a lot more accurate, and they don't really pick up any background noise. However, they can be quite costly, but I personally would recommend it if you're willing to spend the money on it. Alright, so I'm going to demonstrate this with my low E string here. If I pluck it like this, you'll see that it's really flat, and it's displaying that the nearest pitch relative to the tuning of the string is at a D sharp. So I'm going to tune this up like so until it's closer to E. As you can see, that line right there is getting closer to the center, and then the moment I get it close, right there, well, maybe a little down, but once it's in tune, it'll align with the center pitch and it'll start glowing green. So if you don't really want to invest the money in a physical tuner like the one I have, you can also find a lot of different tuners online on the App Store, and I would personally recommend using the Fender tuning app. I have it pulled up on my phone right here. They have a few different settings for tuning here. They also have a lot of different other tools that can be useful for a beginner, and for the purposes of the video, we're going to check out the auto tuner, which I find is the easiest to use. If you click up here in the top right corner, what makes it so great is you have all these different settings for tuning. You also can have tuning for electric guitar, acoustic guitar, and also bass and ukulele. If you scroll down here, there's a lot of different tuning setups that they have already for you here, but if you make an account, you can also save your own custom tunings, which is great if you're trying to get tunings for a specific song. But how this interface works is the note down here will glow depending on which string you're trying to tune. So if you're tuning the low E string, for example, this will glow. And then you will have the center pitch displayed here. And then there'll be a yellow circle, which you're seeing pop up on the screen now. And it'll be to the left if it's flatter than the note, or it'll be to the right if it's sharper than the note. And also there will be text at the top that tells you if you are flat or if you are sharp. And it's very easy to use, and it's completely free. So the advantages to using a tuner like that is, of course, you don't have to invest any money in it, and a tuner like that also has a lot of tools that you can use. But there's also the problem of it uses your phone microphone, which isn't the most accurate, and it also picks up a lot of background noise. I know whenever I've used the tuner app, I've had to tune my strings twice using that app just to get them completely for sure in tune. But if you don't want to invest any money, a tuner app like that would be a great choice for you. Now that you know how to tune your guitar, the next step we're going to go over is learning some chords. Forming chords at first is going to feel very awkward. Your hands are not used to moving in the way that they need to play guitar, so your hands are probably going to feel very awkward, they're going to ache, your fingertips are going to hurt, but with enough time and dedication, eventually you'll be able to get the chords down and be able to play them right. During this section, I'm also going to refer to frets. If you don't know, the frets are these little segments on the neck of your guitar that divide up the fretboard. And these are also numbered, so this is the first fret here, and the one below that is the second fret, third fret, and then so on. During the section where I'm going to talk about chords, I'm also going to be referring to finger numbers when referring to the formation of chords. Essentially, each of the fingers on your hand that you use to form chords are numbered. Your pointer finger is going to be 1, your middle finger is 2, your ring finger is 3, and your pinky finger is 4. Now your thumb is usually unlabeled, or if it is used in a chord, it's labeled as T. But the chords I'm going to teach you, and most chords usually will not have you use your thumb. So the first chord I'm going to teach you today is the G chord. To form this chord, take your third finger or your ring finger and put it on the third fret of the high E string. Next, you're going to want to take your second finger or your middle finger and you're going to put it across on the third fret of the low E string. Then to finish the chord, you're going to take your first finger or your pointer finger and you're going to put it here on the second fret of the A string. Then to strum the chord, just strum all 6 of the strings like so. And that's how you play a G chord. The next chord I'm going to teach you today is the C chord. To form this chord, you're going to want to take your first finger or your pointer finger and put it here on the first fret of the B string. Next, you're going to want to take your second finger or your middle finger here, and you're going to want to put it on the second fret of the D string. To finish the chord, you're going to take your third finger or your ring finger, and you're going to put it on the third fret of the A string. To strum this chord, you're going to want to strum the A string down, excluding the E chord, like this. The next chord I'm going to show you is the D chord. To form this chord, start by taking your second finger or your middle finger and putting it on the second fret of the high E string. Next, you're going to take your third finger or your ring finger and you're going to put it on the third fret of the B string. Then, to finish the chord, take your first finger or your pointer finger and put it on the second fret of the G string. To strum the chord, you're going to strum from the D string down, excluding the A string and the E string, like this. The next chord I'm going to show you today is the F chord. Now this is usually played as a bar chord, in which the first finger covers all the strings on the first fret. However, I'm going to be showing you an easier version of the chord today. To play the easier version, you're going to take your first finger and put it on both the first fret of the E string and the B string, covering both of them like so. Next, you're going to take your second finger or your middle finger and you're going to put it on the second fret of the G string. To then finish this chord, you're going to take your third finger or your ring finger and put it on the third fret of the D string. To strum this chord, you're going to strum from the D string down, excluding the A and the E chord like this. So the chords I've shown you are just a few of the most basic chords that show up in many songs. I'd first recommend trying to practice forming the chords with the hand you form chords with in order to get your hand used to moving in that way and stretching in that way. And I'd also practice trying to keep your fingers arched so that your fingers aren't touching other strings and potentially muting them. And then once you get kind of comfortable with that, try and practice putting down enough pressure while forming those chords in order to actually strum the chords and make a good sound out of them. So once you've practiced forming the chords individually and playing the chords individually, the next step is trying to practice swapping between chords. Now you can do this by simply messing around, playing a chord and trying to swap to another chord, but I find that the most fun way to do this is by practicing some basic songs that use basic chord progressions. Not only are you practicing swapping between chords, but you also get to learn a fun song to play. As an example, I'm going to show you how to play Sweet Home Alabama by Lynyrd Skynyrd. Before I go into the actual chords used in the song, I'm first going to show you the strumming pattern used. So the strumming pattern goes as follows. You're going to strum down 3 times, then up twice. And you're going to do that for each chord. So it's going to be in this rhythm. So you're going to go down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up. And you're going to do that for each of the chords used in the song. So Sweet Home Alabama uses all the chords that I've taught you in this video. The chords in order for most of the song are D, then C, and then G. Now you're going to do the strumming pattern that I showed you once for each chord except for the G chord. So you're going to go down, 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 up for D. You're going to do that for C. But then when you get to G, you're going to do the strumming pattern 2 times before going back to the D chord, like so. Now, you can play the entire song like this. However, if you want to add a little bit of flair, there are parts that use the F chord as well. There are some small parts in the song that use the same strumming pattern where you go. However, when you get to the G chord, instead of doing the strumming pattern twice, you're going to do the strumming pattern 1 time on the G chord, then you're going to strum the F chord and then the C chord once before jumping back to the D chord. So it's going to go like this. And basically, that's the entire song. So sped up, it's going to sound like this. Practicing songs that have basic chord progressions like Sweet Home Alabama is a great way to practice rhythm and swapping between chords. You can find countless songs online that have very basic chord progressions that use basically the same chords that I showed you here. And then once you're feeling comfortable enough, you can branch out and try and learn other chords as well. And with that, you should now have a solid foundation on beginning on guitar, from learning how to tune your guitar, how to play chords, and then applying those chords in a song. This is very similar to how I got myself started on playing guitar, and I hope it is helpful for you too. Thanks for watching.